2007, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Normally, officers go out solo, but Corporal Chris Denton is recovering from a back injury, so he's riding shotgun with Corporal Philip Crosby.
I was really excited to finally get back to work, but I knew there were some limitations that I was going to have.
Several hours into their shift, it's turning out to be an uneventful evening. Not a bad first night as Corporal Denton eases his way back into the job.
We'd had a few service calls. I think we might have made a traffic stop or two. Nothing stressful, nothing really big.
But at 1:38 a.m., their night goes from 0 to 60 in a matter of seconds. They're dispatched to a car accident that happens to be a block away from their location.
It was one of those situations where as soon as we got on scene, we knew action had to be taken right now.
My first reaction is to get out the car and check, make sure nobody's inside the vehicle.
The clock is ticking, and the officers have to work fast to assess the situation.
I could tell there's no window, but there was something blocking my view. It seemed like plastic, so it was the side airbag. And I cut it. That's when I first started talking to Mr. Barnes.
Are you the only one in here? Are you the only one in here? Yeah.
In that instant, in my mind, I knew I had to do everything I could to try to help him, try to get him out. Burning alive is one of the worst ways to die.
Desperate to get him out of the car, the officers try to open the doors with their bare hands. But the smoke and heat are too intense, and the driver is pinned.
He was wedged kind of under the steering wheel and across the center console and behind the airbag.
And there was just no way I could get him out. I just could not pull him out. Every second that went by, it was getting hotter and hotter.
Horrified at seeing someone burning alive on his watch, Corporal Crosby starts tearing at the passenger door, bending and pulling it away from the car.
We're trying to just create a big enough space to try to pull him out.
Corporal Denton grabs a fire extinguisher from the patrol car, hoping to fight back some of the flames.
When the fire extinguisher went dry, I even turned it over and started trying to break out the windshield just to try to give us access to the driver. I couldn't see anything inside the car. There's smoke everywhere.
The fire is roaring and the smoke is relentless. They give it all they can to pull the door away far enough so they can both get inside and pull out the driver.
That last time before I moved in, we didn't have very much time.
We couldn't come straight out a window. We had to go toward the back of the car.
I was getting really tired. I remember feeling him twisting just a little bit, and he finally moved. Finally, he started coming out.
It was like a magic moment occurred. We were able to both get in at the same time, and all of a sudden he moved. Whatever had been pinning him wasn't anymore.
The driver, Sean Barnes, is badly burned, and his legs are on fire when the officers pull him out of the car.
Been extracted one.
At that point, we were all down in the bottom of the ditch. The grass around the car was on fire at that point too. We're basically still surrounded by smoke and flame. We had to move him again after we'd gotten him out of the car just because the flames were starting to get toward him again.
His feet were still on fire. I remember putting them out with my hands. And at that time, I immediately started trying to talk to him because I knew he'd probably go in shock if we didn't. So I kept on trying to talk to him. And I remember him saying, I can't breathe.
Emergency responders arrive 4 minutes after Crosby and Denton.
And everybody just started doing their job as far as taking care of the accident scene. EMS was taking care of Sean. It was so hot, the car fire was so hot, and the smoke was so much. I remember having to back off because I couldn't breathe.
They're able to get the blaze under control in just a few minutes. The officers are treated for smoke inhalation and minor burns, but it's Sean whose life hangs in the balance. After numerous skin grafts and more than 10 surgeries, Sean Barnes wakes up from a chemically induced coma 3 months later to find that his life is forever changed.
My mom was sitting there beside me in the hospital room, and she explained to me that, I'd been in a bad wreck. It came down between me and her legs.
Sean remembers nothing about the accident, only that it was preceded by a night of heavy drinking with friends.
I remember being dropped off at my apartment by the designated driver. Somewhere in there, I don't remember actually leaving, but I did. I left the house after that. And actually, the very last thing I remember was ordering a Crown and Coke.
After leaving the second bar on his own, Sean says he drove home drunk, lost control of his car while rounding a curve, and flipped it twice, landing upright and in a ditch off the side of the road.
Business was going great. Personal life wasn't going so well. And started drinking a lot. Alcohol's a bad deal, and it can make you do a lot of stupid stuff.
A downward spiral almost ended Sean's life. But after years of recovery and rehabilitation, he has a new set of legs and a new perspective.
I miss a lot of things, but I see a lot more now. I mean, it's a different life. You notice things differently. You notice more about people, and you see people's situations.
The accident changes the lives of everyone involved that night. Corporals Crosby and Denton are named Policemen of the Month by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund.
Not too many times that you take and pull somebody out of a vehicle that's on fire.
Sean donates the remains of his car to the Fayetteville Police Department. It's part of a show and tell presentation he gives students on the dangers of drunk driving.
The pain that I put my family through and the fact that I could have hurt somebody else is really the reason I do that. Because I don't want anybody to get hurt like that. And I don't want anybody to hurt anyone else.
Coming up,